Hi, I'm Dr. Morris here at Chiropractic and Rehab Associates, Back Mountain Backs. Tonight we're going to be going over our 45 Minutes to Freedom. It's basically an educational program about being healthy, wellness. We talk about physical stresses, chemical stresses, all the important things to keep our nervous system healthy, how to prevent chronic disease and illnesses, and how chiropractors can help you do that. This is what we're going to call 45 Minutes to Freedom. Okay? And thanks everyone for coming. I think you'll enjoy it. Feel free to stop me if you have questions. Just feel free, okay? Brief outline of tonight. We'll talk about spine anatomy. We'll talk about spine dysfunction. We're going to go over a term called subluxation. It's a term that chiropractors use regarding the spine. We'll talk about 3 causes of subluxations. We'll talk about the difference between what acute care is versus corrective care. What is health to us? We'll discuss diet and inflammation. We will then go into supplements, products that we carry to help you achieve lasting health and wellness. And that's kind of something that we're pretty passionate about, is getting people to understand what it really means and things that they can stick with, to not be like the big yo-yo dieters and fad things that come and go. If used correctly, these products can really make a big difference. And that's the last part. We kind of developed a program and a guide to help you. All right. Some of you, this will be repetitive to some of you. Our spine has 3 primary curves that must be preserved at all times. The proper curve of the spine is extremely important in nerve flow and circulation. Normal spine curves will break down with aging, lack of spinal health care, and or a poor diet. These primary curves, every patient usually gets taught on what a hip hinge is. The spine is not supposed to be very flexible. Each joint only has about 1 to 3 degrees of movement. Our hip joint has about 270 degrees. Okay? This one joint is supposed to move. It's designed to move. This spine is not. You hear a lot about the core stabilization. It is true. There's a little bit of miscommunication of what that really is. But one of the most important things, when we bend over, we still should have good spine posture. We call that a hip hinge. That helps preserve the curve of the spine. And this curvature of the spine basically should be in there when you're sitting, standing, bending, lifting, whatever you're doing. That really keeps this from wearing out and breaking down. Any questions? Is that new to anyone? All right, subluxation. What is it? Before I even get into the technical detail, what does it mean? It means this. It just means this. It's a big fancy definition and term for what I just showed you. So, it is an alteration of vertebral alignment causing nerve pressure and loss of function of dependent organs. Nerve tissue is protected by bone. The brain is encased by the skull, and the spinal cord is covered by 24 moving bones of the spinal column. Body weight, stress, and loss of primary curves presses the bones together, pinching nerves, and nerves control all body functions. So what causes a subluxation? The 3 main causes are physical stress, chemical stress, and emotional stress. Subluxation comes from life, resulting in another term that the chiropractors like to use is called dis-ease. Okay? It's really not practical to try to remove all of the causes of these subluxations. Okay. Emotional stress, work stressful, family stress, financial stress, hectic schedules. So stress is everywhere. One of the things that stress does is it puts our body into, if we break down our nervous system, we have an autonomic part. The autonomic part is broken into a sympathetic and parasympathetic component. Stress activates the sympathetic component. What is that? That's our fight or flight mechanism. Our body releases something called cortisol. Cortisol is natural and it's good, but chronic stress and chronic release of cortisol causes immune system depression, It causes us to store excessive amounts of body fat around our waist, and it makes us more prone to illness. Chemical stress. So things like alcohol, nicotine, drugs, whether they're legal or illegal, air we breathe, the water we drink, and the big one is the food that we eat. These chemical stresses or toxins are pretty much found everywhere. And we'll touch a lot later on the food that we eat here. Physical stress. I have two underlined, I'll get right back to them. Sports and accidents. There's repetitive stresses. You don't have to be overactive to get stressed. Sedentary lifestyle still creates stress. Childhood falls. Many of us say, I haven't never injured my back. And we start asking about things that happened. And you say, well, geez, yeah. When I was little, I fell on a trampoline and hurt my neck. But I never had a problem. We're a lot more resilient as kids. Poor posture, and then the normal birthing process. I put normal there because it's still traumatic for a child to come through the birthing process. So these subluxations can occur earlier than you think. Accidents are the ones where patients come into the office and say, I was shoveling, I felt my back, and I couldn't move. That's an acute injury, acute trauma. Those are the easy ones for us to find out what's going on. The poor posture comes kind of under the repetitive stress. Many people, about 50%, will come in and say, I didn't do anything. I don't know, I just woke up this way. It doesn't happen that way. What happens is we get a buildup of micro trauma, then one day, all of a sudden, we wake up with pain. And it's hard for us to say, well, I didn't do anything. That's where we tend to educate patients on all the things that really are not good for our back.